Hey everybody, hope this finds you doing well. Today we're going to talk about the big news of the day. The FMOC meeting happened earlier today. The Federal Open Market Committee consists of Board of Governors, the President of the Federal Reserve of New York, and other Reserve Bank presidents. And most people know Jerome Powell, who spoke today, gave a prepared message regarding the rate hikes that are ongoing as they try to fight inflation. So, the U.S. Federal Reserve, which is basically the central bank of the United States and controls the money supply, and in an effort to fight the high prices that we're seeing from everyday goods like groceries and things of that nature, in order to try to fight inflation to bring some of those prices down, they have to raise the interest rates. So it costs a little bit more to borrow, and we've seen that the mortgage rates have now gone up to over 6%, which is the highest since 2008 in the financial crisis. So you're going to see those interest rates from credit cards to mortgage rates and things of that nature. It's going to go up because the Federal Reserve is spiking up the interest rate. And this time they're doing it by another 75 basis points, which is basically 0.75%. So quickly, we'll go through the crypto market as usual. Bitcoin still on top at 18,500. It has dipped below 19,000 today in reaction to the Fed Reserve news. It has been down about 2.3% today over the last 24 hours. Ethereum has broken below the 1300 mark at 1255, currently trading down 5.94% over the last 24 hours. So, as we mentioned, the Federal Reserve is going to, the FOMC, I should say, is going to be raising the interest rate another 75 basis points. This is the third consecutive hike of that amount, and there's a possibility that they will be raising the rates even more. So during the question and answer section, Jerome Powell, the board chairman, reiterated that we are focused on getting inflation back down to 2%. As we mentioned in our last video, it is still over 8% year over year. So it's going to take a little bit more to get it down to 2%. It seems like that's going to be a pretty high threshold to get over. So I'll be curious to see what happens. In the meantime, it's going to be affecting investments, particularly in the equity markets as well as the crypto markets. And we'll go through that in a moment. So he says we can't fail to do that. I mean, if we were to fail at that, that would be the thing that would be most painful for people that we serve. So for now, that has to be our overarching focus. So he's saying that his focus is to get inflation back down to 2%. And the best way to do it at the current market is to raise the interest rate and continue to raise the interest rate. So we'll be interested to see how that continues to affect markets. We're already basically in a technical recession. Politicians and others are still keeping from saying that we are in an actual recession, but it seems as if that is actually what is going to happen if it hasn't already, when you'll start to see the GDP go down because people won't be spending as much because inflation is so high. So let's see how it affected the S&P 500, which is basically the overarching benchmark that people look at to get an understanding of what's going on in the overall equities market. It represents the top 500 companies in the world. And as you can see here in the 1 day chart, we have the candle chart here, and the meeting was around 2:30 this afternoon. And this is, you can't really see the timing down here, but this is at around 2:30 going into 3 o'clock. And then after 3 p.m., you see a major drop. It had reached a high of over 3,900 and dropped all the way down to 37.89 by close of business today. So it actually dropped nearly 3% within a time frame throughout the day, which is a lot for a drop in 1 day for an index fund in particular. So we can see that the market is still very skeptical about what's going on, what the future is going to hold. And so a lot of people were selling the S&P 500 after the meeting announcement. Same thing with Bitcoin. As you can see here, there was a spike up in the middle. This is on UTC time, so this is not Eastern Standard Time, so the time is a little bit different. But as you can see, there was a spike up a little bit earlier in the day, but just like the S&P 500, there was a large candle coming down, and it's continued to go down, and it's now, so it was upwards of what, over 19,850 earlier today, and is now down over hundreds of dollars to about 18,525 right now. So we can see that the Federal Reserve comments today have affected both the crypto and the equities markets. If we look at the overall cryptocurrency market, the market cap, as you can see here, this goes all the way back to 2014. But it's actually fairly healthy for us to have these bear markets and these pullbacks, because whenever you have something that goes like a rocket ship, as you see here, and this is in 2021, this also happened towards the end of 2017 going into 2018, there was a huge rise in price, and what goes up must come down. So basically, after 2018, January of 2018, the market overall started to go down, and you see we started to trade sideways for a couple of years before 2021, and then we had another cycle high, and now we're starting to see the fall. So we had a major upward trend, then you see the fall, another upward trend, then the fall. Then you see it start to come down, and most likely we'll probably trade in this range for a while, most likely, maybe potentially for another 2 years before we have the next boom cycle. So that remains to be seen. So before we end the video, we just want to go over some quick, interesting news that came out in the cryptocurrency space. Colorado is now becoming the first state in the United States to accept Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies as payment for taxes. So if you have a PayPal account and are a Colorado resident, you will have the option to be able to pay your income taxes, whether it be your personal taxes, business taxes, and a few other taxes, you'll be able to pay through PayPal. Now, Colorado, at least right now, has no plans to keep Bitcoin on the balance sheet, so they'll be able to immediately transfer the Bitcoin that they receive into US dollars, but it's giving people another option on how they want to pay their taxes. So it's going to be interesting to see how many people actually take advantage of paying with their cryptocurrency. But you'll see here that paying with crypto will be charged an additional $1 plus 1.83% of the payment amount in fees. So it may not be worth it, but depending on when you got into crypto, it may be a savvy investment to go ahead and keep your crypto and over time pay your taxes with crypto, especially if over time crypto continues to go up in value. So it'll be interesting to see, like I said, how many people will be actually taking advantage of this option that the state of Colorado is now giving to its residents. The last story that we'll go over today, Helium, which is a crypto powered decentralized 5G network. The Helium network is now run by Nova Labs. They have collaborated with T-Mobile to launch what is a crypto powered 5G mobile service, and it's going to be called Helium Mobile. So this is really big deal, really big news for the Helium team and for the helium miners. There are over 950,000 hotspots all around the world, which reward miners for mining and using their hotspots. They're rewarded in helium cryptocurrency. So even though we're in the bear market right now, people are continuing to accrue helium over time for the ability to use their hotspot. So what's going to happen is they're now going to have opportunities to, with Helium Mobile, there'll be a 5G wireless service for smartphones, and they'll be able to toggle between the Helium 5G network or the T-Mobile 5G network. Obviously, the T-Mobile 5G network is much more is much larger than the Helium network, but Helium hopefully will be able to get in some of those areas that T-Mobile is not available. So we'll be curious to see how much that service grows over time. They plan to launch in the first quarter of 2023, and the service, as I mentioned, will rely on both T-Mobile's nationwide network and Helium's user-operated 5G nodes, and T-Mobile and Nova Labs have signed a 5-year agreement to power the service. So it's obviously going to take some time to see how well the network runs on this Helium Mobile platform. So we'll be curious to see, but at least it's giving it some time, having 5 years to get the service up and running and to see how many people are actually going to decide to choose to use the Helium Mobile network. So we're very interested and excited to see what's happening in the cryptocurrency space. Cryptocurrency is not just currency, it's not just tokens, it's not just an investment. We're actually coming out with interesting ways to change technology using the blockchain. So please continue to stay tuned, stick with us here at Networkchain. We look forward to linking up with you soon on the chain. In the meantime, take care. Bye bye.